Hey, y'all. Hello, Columbus. Columbus, give it up again for my friend, Reverend Raphael Warnock. Columbus, it is great to be here. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for how hard you're working. Thank you for joining us this morning to welcome the Vice President-elect of the United States, Kamala Harris. Columbus, the whole country is watching Georgia right now. The whole country is watching Georgia right now. All eyes on Georgia. And Columbus, think about how far we've come. Think about how far we've come in the American South. Think about how far we've come in the great state of Georgia, now the most competitive battleground state in the United States, hosting 2 U.S. Senate runoffs for control of the United States Senate. Think about how far we've come, Columbus, that your standard bearers are the young Jewish son of an immigrant mentored by John Lewis and a black preacher who holds Dr. King's pulpit at Ebenezer Baptist Church. Columbus, think about how far we've come. Good trouble. And we're running against like the Bonnie and Clyde of corruption in American politics. Columbus, how did we wind up with Kelly and David? How did we wind up with Kelly and David? 2 United States senators more concerned with using their offices to line their own pockets than looking out for we the people who pay their salaries. We deserve better, Columbus, and retirement is coming for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. We have the power, Columbus. We have the power to hold them accountable. And we have bigger and better things to discuss than David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, like where we go from here. Georgia has the power to decide where we go from here. We have the power to write the next chapter in American history, because the fog is lifting. Donald Trump is leaving. He may not know it yet, but Donald Trump is leaving, and Georgia voters sent Donald Trump packing. You did that. So what comes next is up to us. In Columbus, we are building a movement for health and jobs and justice for the people. Health and jobs and justice for all the people. Let's talk about health, Columbus. Do you believe, like I do, and like Reverend Warnock does, that health care is a human right and not just a privilege for those who can afford it or who live in the right zip code? Do you believe, like I do, that every single Georgian deserves the best health care available on earth? We can make that happen. I was just out in Cuthbert, Georgia 3 days ago. In Cuthbert, they lost their hospital in October. In the middle of a pandemic, their hospital closed down. And David Perdue and this state's political leaders who refuse to expand Medicaid are responsible for the closure of rural hospitals across this state. We've lost 9 rural hospitals in 10 years, Columbus. And if you send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will deliver the resources to reopen those hospitals and to build clinics that will serve every community in Georgia, because we believe that health care is a human right and not just a privilege. We can stand up to the insurance and drug companies that are ripping off Georgia families every day. Surprise medical bills that arrive 6 months after a visit to the hospital. The prices that families are forced to pay at the pharmacy every day for life-saving medicines like insulin. It doesn't have to be this way, and we can fix it. We can make affordable health care a reality for every family in this state, because Columbus, health care is a human right and not just a privilege for those who can afford it. And this is about health and jobs and justice for all the people. Let's talk about jobs, Columbus. We have the chance to pass the most ambitious infrastructure and jobs and economic relief plan in American history to build back our economy after this crisis. We can repair our roads and bridges. We can build those clinics and hospitals. We can upgrade our public schools. We can ensure every community in Georgia has high-speed internet access. We can make Georgia the #1 producer of clean and renewable energy in the American South, and America the #1 producer of clean energy in the world. We can do these things, Columbus. We can create tens of thousands of jobs while we do it. We can raise the minimum wage to $15, because an honest week's work shouldn't just allow us to survive, it should allow us to thrive. We can do all of these things, Columbus. But let's be very clear about the stakes of these elections. Because if Mitch McConnell continues to control the U.S. Senate, he will try to do to Joe and Kamala just like he tried to do to President Obama. They will block the COVID relief that we need. They will block the minimum wage increase that we need. They will block the expansion of Pell Grants that would allow every young person in this state to get a 4-year degree from a public college or an HBCU without a penny of debt. We have too much good work to do, Columbus, to be mired in gridlock and obstruction. We have too much good work to do on behalf of the people. And Columbus, the polls are open right now. The polls are open right now. So Columbus, say it with me now. Say vote. Say vote. Say vote. The polls are open, Columbus. Health, jobs, and justice for the people. Let's talk about justice. Let's talk about justice. See, my mother came to this country as an immigrant when she was 23 years old because she believed in the ideas that America stands for. The ideas that so many have fought and sacrificed for. And Columbus, please join me in taking a moment to recognize all of the veterans and all of the military families who are here with us today. Thank you for your service. My mother came to this country because she believed in the ideas this country stands for. And let me be very clear that that doesn't mean she indulged some kind of fantasy about our past. That doesn't mean that she didn't recognize how much further this country had to go. But she believed, like the Reverend was just talking about, that this is a country on a journey of progress. That our democracy is what empowers us to build this country so that we fully realize our founding ideals of equality in God's eyes and equal justice under the law. That's what America is all about. And the ballot box is where we demand that progress. That's why my mother became a citizen. The ballot box, Columbus, is where we demand that progress. Columbus, say it with me again. Say vote. Say vote. Equal justice for all. The 14th Amendment to our Constitution already guarantees equal protection under the law. But when Ahmaud Arbery is shot to death in broad daylight on camera in the street, and the authorities look the other way because he is a young black man, that makes a mockery of equal protection under the law. So Columbus, are you ready to fight for a new Civil Rights Act that will secure equal justice for all, regardless of race and regardless of class? And a new Voting Rights Act that will protect the sacred franchise and end voter suppression? Columbus, we have the power to make this happen. The next 2 years can be the most productive for civil rights and voting rights since 1964 and 1965. We have the power as Georgia voters to make this happen. You have the power to make this happen. We have to organize and mobilize and work like we have never worked before. Columbus, are you ready to put in the work these next 2 weeks to make this happen? Are you ready to knock on doors and call your neighbors and get everybody you know at church and at school and at work out to the polls? Columbus, say it with me again now. Say vote. Say vote. Columbus, join me once again in thanking the Reverend Raphael Warnock for running for office. Columbus, join me again in welcoming the next Vice President of the United States, Senator Kamala Harris. Columbus, let's do this together. Let's do it from a place of love and compassion and decency and unity. We are turning the page on 4 years of hatred and fear and division and racism. Let's be filled with love for each other as we do this work. Let's build the kind of country we want to live to the next generation. I'm grateful to all of you for being here. I'm grateful for your support. God bless you. God bless the United States. And thank you for all that you're doing. I appreciate it. Thank you.